So gravel suspension is a bit of a small trend, and I've ridden the RockShox and the Fox suspension fork on gravel bikes over the last few years and been impressed. I think the idea of a bit of suspension on a gravel bike is no bad thing. And today I'm at Sea Otter Classic, and Cane Creek had launched a brand new suspension fork, an upside down one that does remind me of some old 90s mountain bike forks. So let's dive in and take a closer look and find out all the details about the new fork.
Well, hello everyone, my name is Will. I'm here with Cane Creek, and we are here introducing Invert, which is truly the world's first gravel fork. So what is a gravel fork and what is Invert? Well, it is first and foremost, a fork that provides a smooth and controlled ride. It's super lightweight. It's really easy to understand, set up, and use. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, it actually looks good. We finally have a fork that visually integrates with sort of the classic silhouette of a drop bar bike, and that was a really, really important thing for us to hit. Up until this point, while there have certainly been other products in this space, we really feel strongly that there hasn't been a fork to address these four kind of key aspects that are crucial to establishing kind of a proper fork for gravel bikes. We have two models that we're going to market with, the Invert CS, which has 40 millimeters of suspension travel, and the other single adjustment on it is the climb switch. So the climb switch is just a simple single on-off click. It gives you a nice firm setting for out of the saddle pedaling.
Any handlebar remote options?
No remote option at the moment. We wanted this to be as sleek and simple and visually sort of unobtrusive as possible. The second model is the Invert SL. So this is a reduced travel. It's only 30 millimeters of travel, and we removed the climb switch mechanism from the fork. That cut down the weight even a little bit more and kind of gave us the most minimal and most lightweight option. So you got sort of one with, solid amount of travel in a firm setting, and you've got one with a bit less travel and a bit, less stuff going on, just for the most sleek and simple and light option. Yeah.
Do you really see gravel suspension becoming a bigger category? Do you see demand for this sort of product?
I really do. I really do think that kind of the smooth and controlled ride that good suspension provides is something that a lot of gravel riders haven't discovered yet, but we feel like a lot of riders haven't entertained the idea or haven't taken suspension seriously yet for gravel bikes because there hasn't been a fork that feels appropriate for that use case. And so that's really what Invert is all about. And we do really think that once there start to be more and more bikes that come with suspension forks as an option and more riders ride them, I do think it's kind of changed the genre.
And you do a suspension stem already, which is
Yes.
quite popular.
Yes.
What's the benefit of this over that for people?
It's really about a difference of added control. So the compliant stems, the Esilk products, those make your bike more comfortable. They take a lot of we talk a lot about fatigue reduction with those products because they remove that jarring from the rider. But taking away that jarring, that fatigue at the hands and shoulders doesn't do a whole lot for additional bike control and keeping your tire connected to the ground. And so that's really where Invert takes a step beyond what Esilk provides and gives you that added control. It has the comfort aspect, but then adds control that suspension provides. So it's kind of, like you can add, if you want to make your bike a bit better, minimal investment, Esilk is awesome. It's a couple $100 investment, bolt right on. If you want to, take your gravel riding kind of through the roof and just go above and beyond what Esilk provides, that's what Invert's all about. But we don't see riders using them both at the same time. We've had a couple questions. Yeah, double whammy. We've had a couple folks ask, would you see someone using Esilk stem with the fork? Certainly one could, but I don't see that being necessary. Yeah, it's kind of like a this and the next step.
And the reason you go for an upside down fork,
yeah.
What reason for that? Weight or looks or?
Yes and yes, and some additionals, but those are two of the really big ones. The inverted design allowed us to use a carbon fiber crown and steerer to really, really cut down dramatically on the weight. And the inverted design, it allowed us to get that really sleek look that integrates well with the classic lines of drop bar bikes. We think that inverted forks just look far more attractive than conventional designs. A lot of us here at Cane Creek are avid motorcycle riders. We have probably 6 or 7 folks that regularly ride dirt bikes or motorcycles in the building. And we kind of take a lot of that inspiration from those other interests we have. And anybody that rides motorcycles knows that pretty much any premium bike is going to come with an inverted design fork. And so, you know, inverted designs have been tried in the bicycle world in the past and haven't quite, you know, succeeded in certain ways. And so we kind of asked ourselves, like, what's been left on the table, you know, and can we crack the code and make an inverted fork that works well? And I think we've certainly done that here, yeah.
And the recap travels 30
and 40, yes, 30 and 40.
That's enough. Why not 50, 60?
Yeah, it comes down to adjusting the geometry and affecting the geometry of your bike. There may be cases where 50 millimeters of travel could be warranted, but when you do that, you start to have a fork that is so tall that it could affect the handling and the fit of bikes in a negative way. So 30 and 40 felt like the perfect balance of just enough to have the control and the suspension benefit, but not too much that it becomes too heavy and becomes something that, you know, raises the front of your bike, you know, in too much. So it's kind of just about striking a balance.
Yeah. And for people who might say, should buy a hardtail mountain bike, what do you say to those people?
I would say that a gravel bike with an invert is still far lighter and probably going to pedal more efficiently than a hardtail mountain bike. Drop bars and the fit of drop bar bikes is still not something that I feel like you can replicate on any actual mountain bike. So I would say that there's certainly a use case for short travel gravel forks.
A question I've been asking other brands is, have we reached peak gravel? Like, is there more development in gravel? And having launched a suspension fork, you
Yes.
see there being more scope for progression.
I do. I think geometry will be the next thing. I think more and more bikes that are built around the height of these forks, I think that'll be kind of the next big thing we see. Right now, there are, I'd say, a small handful of bikes on the market that are built with an axle to crown measurement that work really well with the suspension fork. I think in the coming years, what we're going to see is more and more mainstream gravel bikes coming with those taller fork heights so that you could upgrade to something like this and really take the control to the next level. But I've been riding one now for about 9 months or so, and I really just don't feel like there's much drawback. It doesn't add enough weight and complexity to the bike for me to say there's any drawback, and I can't see myself going back to a rigid fork. A rigid fork to me on a gravel bike just sounds like less fun, quite frankly.
Available now then? Shops now or soon?
Soon. Yeah, we expect to have these shipping by mid-summer. We've got production parts, you know, in the building as we speak, and we're going to be getting started on production builds back in North Carolina. So yeah, we expect to ship forks and have them in shops and in riders' hands by midsummer.
Have you confirmed prices yet, or TBC?
Yes. Prices will be $1099.99, so $1,100 US for the Invert SL, and $1199, so $1,200 US for the Invert CS. That'll be the same in the UK, $10.99 and $11.99 in pounds sterling. So yes.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So there we go, a inverted gravel suspension fork. Sounds really interesting. I guess the truth is in the testing. So hopefully I can get my hands on a fork to test back home in the UK. But what do you think? Let me know by leaving a comment down below. And of course, as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel by hitting that button down below.